Okay. I would like for us to start with this important part of our lesson for today, being Bodmas. Okay, BODMAS. Let's actually try to figure out how we use Bodmas. But firstly, we need to remember that the B stands for the brackets. So B stands for the brackets, and then O, it simply stands for orders. Maybe for now, just be aware of this one called powers. I will explain what that is, perhaps when we look at an example that involves a power. I think it is those two that you might be interested to know. But as for DMAS, you definitely know what those because the D stands for division, the normal division that you know, then M for multiplication, A for addition, and then S for subtraction. So you can see that I have been going through these things in that direction from left to right. So that means even when you do some calculations, you will follow that direction of from left to right. The best way for you to understand it is if we go through some of the examples. So example number 1, let's say we have something like 6 plus, let's say 4 multiplied by 5. This is something that you may be given, let's say, let's just say it is allocated 2 marks. And I want to show you how you go through it step by step so that you can obtain the 2 marks. You don't just punch all of it on your calculator, but you need to check to say, based on the signs that you are having, do you have brackets? No. Power? No. Maybe let me be fair and give you an idea of what a power is. A power, it is that expression that has a base and an exponent. So something like 3 being the base to the exponent of 2. The whole of this thing, we call it a power. So it would be something that has this being the base and an exponent. So in this case, we don't have such. That is why I will say no brackets, no powers. Division, is it there? Nope. So it's like we are looking for this signs, honorable member. The multiplication, is it there? Yes, it is there. And the multiplication sign on the Bodmas comes first and then the addition comes after. So that means we will now look at that part that involves that multiplication, which means the first step, 6 plus, we write it as it is. We just multiply these two and say what is 4 times 5? Definitely that is 20. And then lastly, the sign which is remaining is that one of a plus. That means it becomes 6 plus 20 being what is that? 26. So that's where your 1, 2 marks are. So if you punch it on your calculator, then you're going to be in a big trouble because you need to show all the steps. So maybe let's look at another example. You might be interested in this example where, let's say, we have inside the brackets 6 plus 4 that we multiply it by 5. Okay, we again refer to Bodmas. You can see that on this problem that we are given, we have to start with B. Do we have the brackets? Bodmas. Yes, we do have the brackets. So that means we focus on everything that is inside the brackets. That will be our starting point, where now we need to do what? We need to say 6 plus 4. What is that? Is definitely 10. And then we have that multiplied by 5, which means 10 times 5, it is therefore equals to 50. That's how you apply Bodmas. Maybe let's look at problem number 3. Okay, let's say we have 183 that we plus it with 2 multiplied by 4. Definitely, you look at these two signs, you realize multiplication comes first. Is it multiplication that comes first? Yes, it is the multiplication that comes first. So that means you end up having 183 as it is, that you plus it with that times that, which is 8. Yes, that times that, it is 8. And then if we get to the next step, we will say that plus that 183 that we plus it by 8, it's equals to 191. Yes, that should be the end of it. Maybe let me add a bit of a spice on that one and say if it was 183 that is being divided by, let's say 2, and then we multiply it by 4. Yes, Bodmas. Let's see. So you look at these signs, you see division and multiplication. You ask yourself which one comes first. Remember, we work from left to right. So the division comes first, and then let's see. Then multiplication comes after. Oh yeah, so that means our first step will need to say this divided by that. What will that be? Let's see, 183 that we divided by 2. It gives us a decimal number, even though I did not want something that would give us a decimal number, just so that we do not have those decimals, but it's fine. We will say 91,5 multiplied by 4. So that means the next step is to just multiply that by 4, and then it gives 366, and that should be the end of it. But you might not need to worry that much. I think what I wanted you to be aware of is the fact that you first look at the division, and then after the division, that's when you can go to the multiplication. So now let's see. Another example that we can look at, let's say maybe this is example number 4. Which example can we do? Okay, it's fine. Let's say 20, where we minus 8, and then this is being multiplied by 4. Yes. Again, in this case, let me just write down there and say Bodmas. Okay, I want you to be careful of something. You may look at these signs and say there we have a division, and then there we have multiplication, and you say multiplication comes first. It doesn't work like that. You always look for the brackets. If they are there, then you firstly deal with whatever that is inside the brackets, which means you have 20 minus 8, which is definitely 12, that you will need to multiply it by 4. Only after you will say 12 times 4, is it 48? Yes, it gives you 48, and that should be the end of it. So I hope that part makes sense. So I will do this as our example number 5. Let's see. Okay, maybe in this case, let's say we are having 3 to the exponent of 2 that we plus it by 4, and then we multiply it by 2. Again, let's do this thing of Bodmas. Trust me when I say after you've mastered Bodmas, you should be alright to get to where we are going. So let's see. Now Bodmas, we don't have the brackets. Order, we do have the power. So the power, what is 3 squared? Definitely you know from even grade 8 and 9 that you punch 3 to the power of 2, it gives you 9. So that's where we start, because we are having that 3 to the 2 as a power. Then we can say we plus it by 4, that we multiply it by 2. Then only after, that's when you can say between these two signs, obviously, it is the multiplication that comes first, which means you will have to deal with that part, which gives you 8. And definitely this will end as 17. I hope that part makes sense. Maybe let's look at another example. Another interesting example. I'll refer to this as example number 6, and then I will say that plus that, and then I'll say that, and I will multiply it by that. Okay, so now very quickly, let's have a look at this one again. Bodmas, very much important. Not Bodmas, what am I writing? Bodmas. Okay, Bodmas. So again, do we have the brackets? Yes, we do have the brackets. What does it mean? We deal decisively with whatever that is inside the brackets. So this is what we are going to be dealing with. What is that plus that? Definitely that is 8, and then now you still have that squared. You multiply that by 4, and then on this step it's like we have a new problem to solve where we need to apply that. Yes, we do have O for the power, that one of 8 squared. 8 squared is 64, so that means you have 64 that you need to multiply it by 4. Then 64 multiplied by 4, it therefore gives you 256, and that should be the end of it. Should I add a spice on that one? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not, because the spice that I'm thinking about is the one where instead of having a multiplication, I have a division there. You will easily work it out, because obviously after dealing with that, you will deal with the power, and then you will just divide, and that should be the end of it. Okay, then it's fine. Let me try find another problem that I can work out. But I think all the other problems that you might need to work out, they should be straightforward. Maybe let's look at this next example where we are having, let's say 40, we minus 1, 2, 3, and we multiply it by 2. For me, it will only make sense when I write that board mass, because I will look at it and say I don't have the brackets, I don't have the power there, division I don't have it, multiplication yes I do. So that means it will be 40 minus, then I'll multiply those two. What will that be? 1, 2, 3 multiplied by 2, it gives 2, 4, 6. Okay, then it's fine. So now let's see, you are having that 40 where you minus 2, 4, 6, and it ends up giving you a negative value, being negative 206, and that should be the end of it. Okay, then it's fine. What else can we do now? Maybe let's look at this type of a problem where, let's say you are having 10 that you are plussing it with 6. Then let's say you are having 2 that you are plussing it with 2. Again, let's write down that Bodmas and see. Okay, with you having that Bodmas, do you have the brackets? Yes, we do. Then you will deal decisively with this thing that is inside the brackets, which is what is this? This is 16. Yes, this is 16 that is being multiplied by, what is this? 2 plus 2, that is 4. So you end up having this 16 that you multiply it by 4. 16 times 4, it is equals to 64. Just remember that when you have the brackets, these things, they mean this is being multiplied by that. From grade 8 and 9, that we know, and it is the two things multiplying a each other there. Nothing complicated. It is just a straightforward multiplication. So I think I've covered all that I wanted to cover regarding Bodmas, especially that you just need to be aware that you've got this, you've got that, and you work from left to right by firstly checking, do I have this? If I have it, then I just deal decisively with that alone. Everything else, I write it as it is. Then jump onto this. If I don't have that, then it's fine. And that. So a wise move would be one where somehow you create your own problem which has all of these things. Let's say, for example, you have 2 that we plus it with, let's say 100, and then we minus it by 3 squared, where we divide that by what is it? We divide that by 1, that we plus it by 2. We have that. Okay, maybe let me make it interesting and say that. Yes, this is how I used to deal decisively with mathematics. I do all those separate calculations, but in the end, I create a problem of my own, whereby I know that before I go to an exam or before I do any test, I just have to work out this because it has everything. So maybe let's see if I'm going to be able to work it out. So obviously you will need that Bodmas thing where you say BOD Bodmas. Yes. So Bodmas says you start with the bracket, so that means I will have to start with that. So everything else remains as it is. That is the only way to avoid making mistakes. And then you divide it. What is this plus that? Definitely that is 3. Okay, and then now you look at the remaining signs. You have dealt with that one, it's fine. The remaining signs, do you have an order? Yes, you do. That one there. Okay, then everything else, you just write it as it is. Plus 100. What is this thing? We do know very well that it is 9, that you will need to divide it by 3. Okay, that one is done. And then now we look for division. Do we have a division? Yes, there. Okay, then everything else, you just rewrite it as it is. Minus, what is this divided by that? Definitely that is 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Let's see. Yes. Okay, then it's fine. I've dealt with that decisively. Multiplication. Do I have it? Oh yes, there and there. So that means that times that is definitely 8. That you plus it by 100, you minus that. Okay, multiplication dealt with decisively. What about the addition? Yes, that plus that gives us 108 minus 3. Yes, that one I've dealt. Then now the remaining one is subtractions. I think it should be 105. Then it is done. So can you see? I just do this one problem, then I've sorted out all the other problems. But the question now is, how are you going to know if indeed this is the correct answer? So for all that I have been doing, just punch the whole of this exactly as it is on your calculator. Trust me when I say it should give you 105. If it doesn't, we are going to call 10,111. Let's see, 4 times 2 plus 100, where we minus 3 squared divided by, in the brackets, 1 plus 2. I feel like I need to pray first here. Did I punch it correctly? Let's verify that one first, because if you punch incorrectly and you make a mistake, you're going to call 10,111 unnecessarily. And once the police arrive, I'm telling you, we just pointed you because you not have punched it correctly. Let's see. Okay, I think oh yes, yes, it does give 105. So that means all that I've done, it is correct. I think for now I will leave it here, especially that I'm confident that I've covered everything, and I will just say